Today's top 10, the biggest idiots of all time. There's some real idiots on this list, and some people that are probably geniuses, but made one incredibly stupid error that defines them. Here we go. Tanya Harding is widely remembered for one of the most foolish scandals in sports history. In 1994, her involvement in the attack on rival figure skater Nancy Kerrigan left a stain on her career. Kerrigan was struck in the knee with a baton, a plan organized by Harding's ex-husband and bodyguard. What makes Harding's involvement so dumb is the sheer incompetence of the crime. It was done in broad daylight, with easily traceable evidence. Harding's poor judgment not only cost her titles and a lifetime ban from figure skating, but also made her a laughingstock. Her connection to the poorly executed attack turned her from a promising athlete into a symbol of recklessness and bad decisions. John Mitchell, Nixon's Attorney General and head of the Committee to Re-elect the President, CRP, earned a place among history's biggest idiots for his role in the Watergate scandal. Despite Nixon being poised for an easy re-election victory, Mitchell allowed and likely approved the break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters. This decision was incredibly foolish, risking everything for minimal gain. After the burglars were caught, Mitchell made matters worse by participating in the cover-up, which included lying, obstructing justice, and trying to silence those involved. His actions led to his own conviction and imprisonment, and most notably, the resignation of President Nixon. Mitchell's poor judgment turned a minor political break-in into a full-blown constitutional crisis, forever tarnishing his legacy and wrecking the Nixon administration. Roberto Goizueta may be considered one of the biggest idiots in American business history for leading the disastrous New Coke launch in 1985. As Coca-Cola's CEO, he oversaw the decision to replace the original formula with a new, sweeter version to compete with Pepsi. While taste tests supported the move, Goizueta underestimated the public's emotional attachment to the original Coke. The backlash was immediate and severe, with protests and boycotts forcing the company to bring back the original formula in just 79 days. His failure to recognize brand loyalty over market trends turned the new Coke launch into a legendary business blunder. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, despite being a strategic genius, is considered one of history's greatest idiots for his role in the attack on Pearl Harbor. Yamamoto's brilliant plan to cripple the U.S. Pacific Fleet backfired spectacularly. He underestimated the American resolve and unity it would spark, leading to a powerful U.S. war effort against Japan. His strategy achieved short-term gains, but failed to account for the long-term consequences. Yamamoto's overconfidence and lack of a sustainable follow-up plan contributed significantly to Japan's eventual defeat, highlighting a critical miscalculation despite his otherwise notable military acumen. General George Armstrong Custer is often labeled one of history's biggest idiots for his catastrophic blunder at the Battle of Little Bighorn in 1876. Custer's decision to split his forces and attack a massive Native American coalition, led by leaders like Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse, was both reckless and poorly executed. Ignoring warnings and underestimating the enemy, Custer's troops were overwhelmed and annihilated in what became known as Custer's Last Stand. His failure to properly assess the situation and his hubris led to one of the most humiliating defeats in U.S. military history. Chris Webber is sometimes considered one of the biggest idiots in NCAA history due to his critical mistake during the 1993 NCAA championship game. In the closing moments of the game, Webber, playing for the University of Michigan, called a timeout his team didn't have. This resulted in a technical foul, which allowed the opposing North Carolina Tar Heels to gain 2 free throws and possession of the ball. Webber's error effectively sealed Michigan's defeat, costing them the championship. This high-profile blunder overshadowed Webber's otherwise impressive college career and remains a defining moment of his time in NCAA basketball. John Antioco is often considered one of the biggest idiots in U.S. business history due to his decision as Blockbuster CEO to reject Netflix's $50 million acquisition offer in the early 2000s. Antioco underestimated the potential of Netflix's streaming model and the shift in consumer behavior. By dismissing this opportunity, Blockbuster missed out on a transformative business model and failed to adapt to the digital revolution. This strategic blunder contributed to Blockbuster's eventual downfall, while Netflix grew into a dominant force in the entertainment industry. Dick Rowe is considered one of the biggest idiots in music business history due to his infamous decision to turn down the Beatles in 1962. As an A&R, artists and repertoire executive at Decca Records, Rowe was responsible for evaluating new talent. The Beatles, who had already achieved some local success, auditioned for Decca, but Rowe rejected them, famously saying that guitar bands are on the way out. Instead, Decca signed a different band, Brian Poole and the Tremolos, who did not achieve the same level of success. Adolf Hitler is often labeled as one of the biggest idiots in history due to his catastrophic strategic blunders and extreme ideology. His invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941 stretched German resources thin and led to a brutal, unwinnable conflict. Additionally, his genocidal policies and racial hatred not only led to the Holocaust, but also fueled widespread resistance and devastating losses for Germany. Hitler's reckless decisions and hubris ultimately contributed to the downfall of Nazi Germany, making him a prime example of how dangerous misjudgment and extremist ideology can be. Leopold Locha is sometimes considered one of the biggest idiots of all time due to his role in a pivotal historical blunder. On June 28, 1914, Locha was driving the car carrying Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria and his wife, Sophie, when he took a wrong turn. This misstep led them to a street where Gavrilo Princip, a member of the nationalist group the Black Hand, happened to be. Princip seized this unexpected opportunity to assassinate the Archduke and his wife. This assassination set off a chain of events that triggered World War I, one of the deadliest conflicts in history. While Locha's error was not deliberate, the consequences of this fateful wrong turn were monumental, making his mistake a notable example of how small, seemingly trivial errors can have massive global repercussions. That's the list. Disagree? Let me know in the comments, and be sure to like and subscribe.